Hello and welcome to Trends Literature Series, and I'm Neeta Aneja, and this is our 181st episode that we have today. And we have a very, very interesting book and a very, very special writer, author. I mean, how many adjectives can I mention? I mean, you've written more than 30 plus books, Vinitha, and welcome to our platform. It's such a pleasure, such an honor to host you today.
It's such a pleasure and honor to be here too. Thank you for having me, Neeta.
I must mention right in the beginning of the conversation that I have absolutely loved your book. It's such a beautiful narrative, and I mean, I have two daughters, and I'm sure I'm going to make them definitely read this book. Tell us right in the beginning of the book that Uma Kapoor versus the New Universe. This is the latest book that we have from you, and such a striking title. So, tell the viewers about Uma and the world that she lives in. I mean, I'm sure they would love to know before they read the book.
So Uma is 12 years old. When the book starts, I think she's on the edge of being 11 and 12. She's moved to grade 6. She comes from an upper middle class home. Her parents are both working. She has a younger brother. And like most teenagers, I would say pre-teenagers, she is completely immersed in her own world. And in her world, at the moment, there are a bunch of girls who have already got her periods and who are flaunting it. And she keeps thinking, why hasn't she got anything? And she's waiting for her boobs to happen. She feels like with it, her life will become glamorous and she'll gather more friends, she'll be more interesting. And that's what she thinks is going to happen when she gets her periods. And so this is Uma, um, a regular brat from a regular upper middle class home who has all the privileges that most upper middle class privileged family children have. So her obsession is about herself, which is age appropriate.
Mm.
And that's about it. She doesn't like her brother. She has a mother who has been super mom, and she also notices things happening in her house, and she doesn't know what is happening.
Mhm.
And like all children believe that when something is happening around them, they feel, and again, this is also typically of all children, they believe that anything that is happening wrong has something to do with them. So she thinks there is something going on for sure. She doesn't know what it is, and so she's constantly guessing. She feels like her parents are having arguments. She feels that her mom is a little more abrupt, more snappier, or more angry, more no nonsense than usual. And she wonders what's going on, and she almost thinks her mom's unwell. Something is going on for sure. So in all of her own personal world, where she is at the brink of so many changes, that bodily changes that happen to a body when you become a teenager. It's not just the physical changes that happen to a teenager, it's also the mental, the emotional changes that happen. The brain is pruning itself. So all of that absorbs a pre-adolescent so much, and she's very absorbed in that. In her world, there's also exams, there's also peer pressure, there's also groups that she wants to be a part of, all of that. Plus, on the side, on the periphery is the fact that something is going on in her home and she doesn't know what that something is. That's the story of Uma Kapoor.
You've beautifully summed it up. And I'm sure our readers will be definitely so anxious to read this book as soon as they can lay their hands upon it. What really stands out in the book is the fact that how you combine the puberty and the menopausal stage
Menopause.
in the same family. This is the most exciting part in the book because you've really, with a lot of emotions, with a lot of care, with a lot of sensitivity, handled it together. It's quite a shared emotional space, I must say. But what really drew you to this story? I mean, such a sensitive way of handling something so important. I can identify myself with this story so easily, with having two daughters and me being more or less in the same stage at that moment of time when they got their parents.
Yeah.
So I'm sure this is the story of each and every household. But yes, it's not been spoken about, not really been narrated in such a beautiful manner. We do talk about it, but we don't really do it the way you did. So what really got you to the story, and we got such a wonderful story in the because of you.
I think I've been obsessing about menopause for some time, way before menopause hit me. And I
Mm.
think for a number of reasons I was obsessing about it. Of one thing is that while I was in my peak working career, I witnessed two people working with me in my team struggling through perimenopause and menopause, and both of them took had very tough time. Uh, I think I've been gathering these stories inadvertently, not meaning to, but also gathering very alert to it because my experience of my of pregnancy was very difficult in the sense that I wasn't prepared for the pain that labor came with, you know, and I was really angry about it. And I remember my Gainak had a name for me because I'm Vinitha. She called me Violent Vinitha to
Okay.
help her remember me. So it felt very strange to be called Violent Vinitha. And I kept thinking that if this is how I would feel when, when you get pregnant, a whole lot of hormones surges into your body. And when you deliver the baby, again, the hormones leave the body. And there's a period where the balance between the hormones moving in and out of your body leaves you with postpartum blues. And because of the way she named me, I kept thinking, oh my God, when I get into perimenopause and menopause, I don't know what will happen to me because she made me believe that I was a difficult person at that point of time. I wasn't actually. I was just very startled with the amount of pain labor took and never understood what it meant to be in labor. So I had been gathering stories, and in hindsight, I also remembered that my mom was a very timid person, and I remembered my mom being only time she showed anger was during her perimenopause, which I think now is perimenopause. We were four daughters. We had no sons in my house. So a lot of it came from very personal space. My obsession about I wonder how it will be when I go through menopause, and also noticing that from my batch of students dealing with menopause like it doesn't exist. Like, this is not a thing we should talk about. The shame behind it, the taboo of how when a woman goes to menopause, it's equivalent to her being old. And also a lot of um, ways of, you know, very a lot of ageism associated with menopause.
Mm.
And all of this I was very wary of, and I think I was looking for information. At that point of time, um I think I just started perimenopausing, and I think I've never had so much trouble too. But a friend of mine, and I write about her at the end of the book also. She was working with an NGO, and she said that there aren't stories about menstruation in this country, and I was like, no. She wanted to do a book with her and me because we worked on books together, and she said, let's do a book together on menstruation and menopause because she knew I was interested in menopause. And I was like, both those subjects don't work in a children's book. I was like, 15 years ago or 30 years ago, when we were younger, maybe there was nothing on menstruation. Maybe people didn't talk about it. Maybe there wasn't literature with it. But I think there's plenty of literature there right now on menstruation. And who said menopause? Why should children know about menopause? My instinct was like, it's not a subject for children. And she educated me. And she said, in every home, there is a menopausal woman. Even if there's no menstruating girl, there's a menopausal woman in every home. Why shouldn't children know about it? Either the grandmother or their mother or their aunt, somebody is going through the end of the menstrual cycle. And it made me think so much. And I was so struck by that thought. I was very taken by it. And I ended up doing a lot of research and thinking, yeah, why not? So convincing the publisher that this was something that we should do in a children's book was what I started to do. And I had written a book about a very different book actually, but that's how it started, that I would do, a book on menstruation and menopause. So when Penguin said yes to the book, they never said yes to menstruation. They said, do a book for menopause for middle graders.
Mm.
If I'm writing a book for middle grade children about menopause, the protagonist would have to be a middle grade girl. And therefore, I again reclub the story from the eyes of a 12-year-old who's on the brink of menstruating, talking about witnessing something that she could not understand. that was going, that her whole household was going through because her mother was suffering. And therefore, when one person is struggling in the office, if one person is struggling at home, it does affect the whole family. It does affect the team that that woman is working for. And there is enough literature to show that at the peak of their careers, women are on the decline of their menstruation. So many women are affected, and so many households and offices are affected, and all of this can be sorted if we had conversation. And we're not having this conversation at all. We're all so ashamed of it.
Fantastic. Because, in doing so, the fact that you've written this book, you've really addressed some very, very important topics like empathy, communication, conversations around this topic, mental health, primarily the conversations which should happen between the families. And I'm sure each
Yes.
and every female, each and every adolescent should read this book. But having said that, uh, when the boys read this book, what do you think the changes will come around when they read this book? And I feel that that's a very important point for them to also understand how it goes, how it.
Especially for them to understand. So when we've been planning this book and planning sessions for the book, I'm urging schools where it can be an all boys school, it can be a father daughter session, it can be a father son session. I'm urging, the point I'm trying to make is that this is everyone's topic. This is not just a female body, only meant for girls and women to discuss. Yes, it is, but it also shouldn't be about that. So, uh, right now, small groups are reading the book, and there are boys included in it. And it's so interesting that the conversations coming out from young 10, 11-year-old boys are, oh, what is menopause? Girls also don't know the word, boys don't know the word for sure. And the question that boys are asking is, does it happen for men too? Which is so
Mhm.
interesting.
Oh, so interesting. Absolutely. This is such an interesting conversation because I was thinking when I was reading this book, definitely it should be made compulsory for even the boys to read to be able to understand their girlfriends, their wives, their.
Some reviewer has put in saying a book that everyone in the family should read, and I had posted it in another group of friends, and this gentleman did a eye roll figure saying, everyone in the family should read, especially men. And I was like, and his response, and I remember, I today this happened this morning, and he was like, why should everyone know about woman's body? I'm like, why shouldn't everyone know about the woman's body? And he tells me, I was there at my wife's delivery, therefore I know everything about her body. And I'm thinking, you don't need to go to the wife delivery to know everything about her body. We all know that, and even if you have been there to have, because of you and her, only the baby happened, and because you've had it sat in the delivery room, doesn't mean you know everything about a woman's body. The misconception is that I think I know women's anatomy and I know everything that a woman goes through is the biggest mythbuster we need to do, to hopefully with literature, the other stories, but also through the story. This thing that, I know a woman's body, I don't need to know anything more. Women think like this, and men though definitely think like this. We should start changing this narrative.
Absolutely. But I was also thinking, I mean, your style of writing is so narrative. It's doesn't feel like a lesson when you read such complex topic being handled with Uma, who's only 12, but she's dealing with some very, very important growing up emotions. But how do you write about such complex issues in such narrative style? I mean, it was part of such a beautiful narrative. Did you plan it, or this is because of your experience with adolescents, with a lot of writers, young writers that you have in your kitty? How did it go? I mean, the writing part is equally as important. The way you've written is as important as the story and the way you've brought it together. So, such complex issue for children, and you've handled it well. So, was it a planning, or this is how you write your books?
No, I think most of us are good storytellers, so we are here because of that. One is also, today's children are very intelligent. They always have been intelligent, but today's children have access to global literature. They're reading everything. They're consuming so much, and you cannot talk down to them. They are equals, so you have to treat them like equals. That's one thing. The minute you make it preachy, the minute you're trying to stuff information, you've lost your reader. That's for sure. Secondly, the challenge was for me was to write a story about two really icky subjects: menstruation, menopause. Who wants to hear about either subject? I don't know anybody. And grown up or a child who wants to say, who willingly says, yes, yes, I want to hear about menopause. Yes, yes, I want to hear about menstruation. Nobody
Hmm.
wants to hear it. Even, so I had to write a book that was light because the subject was so heavy. And so it was so important for me to make a light book because I wanted the child pick the book, to not put the book down because it was getting preachy, because I was stuffing down information. I had to tell an interesting, gripping story, which was light and funny and also layered enough to also keep the nuances, keep the detailing, keep the toughness in it without making it feel so tough, without making it feel so sticky. So that was the constant was like, I have to write this funny book, but it cannot be it's not funny also. It has to be warm, it has to resonate with that young person who also struggling with that. So I tried really, really hard, and I laughed my way through the book. I laughed my way through the book, and I really had fun. At the end of the book, I wasn't sure I'd done a good job, and the only redeeming thing was I actually had fun writing this book. I didn't struggle through this book, so that was really cool.
That is what I was going to say. That important humor has been the most important part linking this book. Otherwise, it could have been very heavy and very uncomfortable. But at the end of the it all, what do you think children really misunderstand about adults or vice versa? What do you think is that common thing that you felt that children misunderstand adults? They try to understand them, and adults also, in their own daily routines, like the mother, because of so many problems, she comes to know about her period much later than she should have
Yeah,
because she was so entwined. The girl was Uma was constantly questioning as to what is wrong with her. But yes, mother, she was more into her phase, and because of the
yeah.
fire incident and so many things there. How did it? I mean, how do you think? Tell us about it. Yes, I think you've
I
understood.
feel like two things that strike me as an adult today.
Hmm.
Two things. One is that we think, as children, we think parents and adults know everything, and
Hmm.
it's such a shattering thing to be a grown up and realize you know nothing.
Hmm.
You know, that is the first learning. I remember I met someone for work, and that person said, none of us know what we're doing. And I was like, no way. I thought I was the only one who did not know what I was doing. To know that most adults are going through the world so confidently, but actually feeling that they know nothing is one of the biggest important things to know. That you think you know everything, you don't, and we don't. A lot of us know we don't know. The other thing that I wanted to bring through the book, one is that grown-ups don't know everything. I hope you to be kinder to the grown-ups around you, because you think your mom and dad, they better know what they're doing. They better be in charge. They are supposed to be in charge. They're supposed to be our primary caregivers. They don't. They're struggling through a bunch of things. And I think a lesson that I learned and I want to tell most grown-ups is that um, when we are struggling through something, we don't realize that children are collateral damage. The children suffer so much and we don't realize it. We think that they don't, but children pick up vibes of tension, of anger, of anxiety. They really pick it up, and they often, if it's not talked at home that we are going, there's something going on, it's nothing to do with you, they will take blame for it, and they will also worry unnecessarily about it, and it affects them very a lot. So when I talk of Sidhu bedwetting, I was trying to indicate that that boy, although he was a nerd and he was talking, moon language and talking of planets, he was also suffering.
Hmm.
And this young girl herself, when she is trying to diffuse the anger between the mother and that boy crying in the car, and mother was yelling, she's taking responsibility and adulting her way, while the adult is not adulting doing that job. So very often children are forced to become more mature than the adults around them who are struggling through something,
Hmm.
and it's not okay for to do that. And the faster we get on track, the faster we know what we're doing, the better it is for children, because children don't deserve to struggle and suffer through this.
Right. And one character which really stood out amongst it all was Arjun, definitely, her friend.
Yeah.
So I mean that he, in fact, he was a key element. I mean, the way he was passing commands, the way he was trying to understand the problem. Please tell us more. Tell the viewers more about him. I was pretty impressed with the way you strategically put him in. It was like a punching bag or whatever you can say. She was talking to him
Yeah.
continuously. He was a best
Yeah.
friend. So, and he was
I
somebody
think
outside the family, trying to
family.
understand,
Yeah.
trying to put things together, trying to pass his own
Yeah.
judgments. Please. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I was writing a book on women's bodies, and I was writing a book about growing up, and I wanted to create male characters who are allies in the story. I was very clear about this. I did not want to, we tend to demonize and create black and white and everything. I wanted to create grays, and I also want to create allies and to tell girls and women and boys, the girls and that Sidhu and this girl's father and Arjun were really allies everywhere,
Mm,
and that we can have best buddies like that, and we
mm,
can aspire to have and these people do exist. You can have a really good male buddy friend who gets you more than anybody else gets you. You can have a brother who's wiser beyond what his years is, and you can have a father, a role model who is trying his very best to be supportive of the in the house. He was also cooking in the family. He was
mm.
there. So I wanted to break all of that by creating allies, male allies in the book to say that, we're all in this together and we all can figure this out together. Yeah,
Yeah.
so Arjun was very important in that journey.
Because it's a big book of hope, I must say, and optimism, and the way
Yes,
she gets
yes,
back to Arjun, beautiful relationship. But what
yes.
conversation do you think this book will start among mothers and daughters, especially? That's a very important relationship, and I think the more, as you've been saying, that conversations need to start and conversations will start. So, what kind of conversations do you think will now start between the mothers and daughters about this? Because yes, Uma noticed it all and was trying to find answers, but there'll be so many outside of Uma, so many Umas in the families, so many Uma outside your book who will try to find answers too. So, what conversations do you see? What positive?
I think adults shy from conversation. It's very difficult. I think the hardest will be to have conversation in classrooms with teachers and children, especially when in a mixed classroom of girls and boys. I wonder how many brave teachers will want to have this book in their classroom and have a discussion and be open to listening to questions. I'm hoping that the story is light enough that when kids read it, and my target audience is a child, that they take the book to their parent and they start off a conversation. Because I'm hoping that parents will be better listeners. We are also busy as children, as parents. We are really, really busy people. We were so much are happening around us. As parents, we're putting our children in thousands of classes. We're keeping them fully engaged. Every single thing that a child does today is meaningful, including their playtime, right? In all of this, where is the listening happening? Nobody is listening to each other. Nobody, so I'm hoping that there is a start of a conversation and a start of listening. Because when listening happens fully, properly, qualitative listening, then sometimes children don't need anything except a parent listening. And sometimes you need the parent. If the child doesn't come with you with a question, you don't need to answer anything. You need just to be there. The child is there, talk to you. Your job is just to listen, to not provide solution. Very often, my children correct me. Does this have to be a learning moment, mom? Because I'm also so busy playing the parent role. I'm also trying to give them solution. But often we need to just listen. If there is a question, the child will ask it. And if there isn't, they just want you to listen. We're so absorbed in our own phones, our work. We are battling so many things together. We want perfect homes. We want to be perfect professionals. We want to cook amazing food. We want to make time for our friends. We want to make time for our children. We are trying to do so many things. We are really stretched as adults, and it's a tougher world. And it's equally tougher world for children, I think, who have again so much distraction happening, so much more pressure, and the world and its information is exploding to them 1,000 times more than they were exploding for us. If this book even starts one conversation per book, I think our job is done. Just one conversation is all I'm asking for. enough curiosity, because information is available. Conversations, listening, that's not happening.
Fantastic. So well said. And I would like to show everyone your book. It's such a fantastic cover. It tells it all, actually, if you look at it
Yes, I have a
properly.
copy of it too.
Yes, great. That's a good moment. I'll take a picture later
Yeah.
of us
Oh,
having
yes.
the book
I
together.
can,
Oh, yes.
yeah,
So
I can hold
I'll
it
take it from the
anytime.
video later. Yes, great.
Yeah.
So tell us about this
Yeah.
cover. This has been, people are talking about this. Definitely, it's beautiful. And about the whole process of writing this book, maybe the editors you would like to talk about, anything that you would like to give away about this book and your process. And especially, the beginning of the chapters, I was absolutely impressed with when you write Oma, now 12 and a half, and a
Yeah.
punchline. That is the beauty of the entire chapter. It is so well planned and meticulously written. Oh, beautiful. So please tell us all. This is nice. And thanks to
I think
Penguin
the
and Kavya for putting us together. It's
penguin,
been such a
yeah, that
wonderful.
thanks to penguin. And that penguin team is really, really cool. And I've been really lucky to work with Sushmita, who was editor on the job. And the way the book looks, the story, the back and forth, what Sushmita wanted, she wanted very little about this girl, more about menopause. And the design of the book, how it opens, each little fragment on top, all of that. I think
Hmm.
all of these things are things that. Sorry, is that your at your end?
Pardon me?
Is something is there's a call coming through?
No, no,
There's
no.
something beeping here.
No, no, no.
Okay,
No,
that's
not
mine.
me.
That's yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yes.
No, so all of that. I mean, it was great teamwork at that point at so many levels. But editorially, I think inputs from my editor was so helpful, and I think she also visually designed it really well. So the cover, usually the cover has just one image, right? And she put a lot of story over there, and only when you read the whole book you realize what the fire means. It's metaphorical and also not also emotional fire, and so many things are there, and so many elements that you will enjoy looking at the book after you read the story. Yeah, the process was very nice. I really enjoyed the book.
Yes. And any biggest challenge that you faced while writing this book, or it was just a dream and you just wrote it in no time or
I
something
wrote
like
it
that?
without, yeah, I need to exaggerate. Without exaggeration, this book was written in less than 10 days. Uh, I- for only because I was told that if you can deliver it by end of this month, the book will happen. It was supposed to happen last year. And so but it was so easy. Once I got the tone, my challenge was getting the tone correct. And so I spent a lot of time at a bookstore that I love very much called Kahani Tree. And I
Hmm.
sat down and I sat and looked at all the present day middle grade books and
Okay.
saw what worked for me, what didn't work for me, why these books were doing well, or why they did well and I still didn't work for me, or why it didn't do well and I still liked it. Getting the tonality of the book was so important because once I got that, then writing was not a problem. I knew what the story arc was like. I'd already submitted two chapters, which after which I got the go ahead. It was now like just finishing the whole book, right? So that
Hmm.
happened. It was extremed because so many of these people
Hmm.
and experiences have come from real people and real experience. So there's very little fiction in this actually,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, yeah.
So yeah.
And any thing else that you would like to tell your viewers about the book, about yourself, or maybe the budding writers? The floor is yours. Anything you would like to convey to them? Any books planned that you have any sequel coming of this book?
Oh,
We would
how
like
I'd
to
love
know
to have
so
a
much from
sequel.
you. Yes.
I'd love to. I'd love it if there was a sequel of Uma Kapoor. Let's see if that happens. But I have two other books coming. One book of mine already happened earlier this year. There's one more book happening. There are books happening on the pipeline. So I'm busy, busy, busy living a fairy tale life of just writing books and writing stories and yeah, exploring the world through fiction and nonfiction both together.
Yes, I think there is one non-fiction also coming up. Wait, did I read about another?
The next book, so the book before this was nonfiction, and the book after this was also nonfiction.
Okay, but
I'm
fantastic.
doing a food memoir, which is going to
Yes, I
happen
was
end of
trying to
this year.
remember what topic was it. So,
It's a food memoir. I'm writing, but it's not for children. I'm writing for adults. It's
Okay.
going to be my first not for children book of some length,
Fantastic.
and that has
What a
been an interesting journey.
Yes, and for us to talking to you has been so interesting. And I'm really, really recommend this book to everybody who's been listening to this or on my,
Thank you.
people have been talking about this book a lot. There have been so many reviews and
Yeah, there
such
have.
positive, fantastic reviews of the book already.
Yeah.
And I wish you all the best with this book and many more to come.
Thank you.
What a pleasure it has
Thank
been
you
to
so much,
talk to
Neeta.
you.
It has been likewise.
Thank you.
Did you have a favorite part in the book, or did you have a favorite character in the?
See, for me, Uma definitely. But yes, somehow I had this thing about Arjun as well. I just love the character, the way
Right.
you've sketched it. And of course, mother for being, all of us will identify with her. But yes,
Yeah.
my favorite character definitely Uma. But yes, Arjun.
Yeah.
Somehow, I
Oh,
don't
thank
know.
you for
I,
saying
I
that.
have my thing for him. That I felt
He's very endearing. Arjun is very endearing
very
because
endearing the
he's
way
so
at that
innocent.
age he's being talking
Yeah.
to Uma and trying to console her and trying to find reasons
Yeah.
and so involved in her
Yeah.
life, that's very rare to
Yeah.
find. So that buddy
Yeah.
that
That is
you would like to have always, so he's that buddy
always. Yeah.
that
Yes.
everyone
Yes.
wants a support outside their families. So somehow I liked him. And it was a one go book. I could finish it very fast. And
Very quickly. Yes.
it's not only for adolescents, it's for all of us. We should all read this
It
book
is. It is.
and kind of
Yes, it's a quick read. And I hope more people read it. I hope more children read it and more adults read it. And I'm really looking forward to interacting with children with the book.
fantastic. Thank you so much. Such a pleasure talking to
Thank
you
you so much,
today.
Neeta. Thank you so much too.
And
Thank you for having me
definitely
here.
meet you soon or maybe see you soon, very soon in a offline
Hopefully,
event.
let's meet. Yeah, let's. Yes, yes.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you. What a pleasure.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Likewise.